You're going to hate this answer.
Why?
It comes from within the founder because it's what does success look like for them.
Okay. Yeah.
So it shouldn't be prescriptive, part of that Kool-Aid mentality again, where I'm going to exit for $1 billion, because in 90% of cases that means you're probably only leaving with the same amount of money that somebody would if they exited for 20 to 40 million.
Yeah.
At that stage, you own next to nothing of it anyway. But you've had to work twice as hard, and you'll probably be tied to the company for another 2 years just to get that. So success, I think this probably was lost for a while as well, but I think it is a personal thing. It's like what would, and I ask this quite often, the fact is, what success look like for you?
Yeah. So often I don't know, but I haven't thought about it.
No.
Yeah.
But even if they can sketch out a rough idea of how long do you want to be doing this for, and they can't answer that, nobody can. And the reason they can't is nobody knows what founder life is like unless they've been there before.
Yeah.
But the one thing I identified early on was that early stage entrepreneurs make the same early mistakes, and that hasn't changed. People drink the VC Kool-Aid. They think they have to get on a VC mindset and listen to some of the crap that's spouted by certain VC, that you have to do this way. You have to. No, you don't. That's lesson 1. Lesson 2 is that you're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to be fallible, and don't be scared and show you're fallible. And number 3 is don't place all of your focus on your pitch deck. It's back to the brevity. I know I'm talking about as somebody who owns a platform that matches people with investors, but people often miss the most fundamental steps.
Welcome to Founder Real Talk, honest conversations about what it really takes to be a founder. So welcome everyone today to Founder Real Talk. Today I've got Kris Jones with me. Welcome. So Kris is the founder or co-founder of Magic Source, which is a central hub for startups and investors globally. And Kris is also a mentor, business angel, someone who helped like many startups to raise a lot of capital and to kind of like go through the roller coaster of early stage venturing. I always see it as like a 10G sometimes you have to hit, and then you have the ups and downs and the backflips, and like it's kind of like this bipolar entrepreneurship dynamic in a way. But yeah, Kris also built an accelerator I've heard about, and backed many underestimated founders. So you saw like the raw and unpolished side of what it means to actually build a startup. And yeah, so maybe first question, Kris, how do you usually introduce yourself, or how do you see yourself today and what you're proud about?
Well, you cover most of it. I'm co-founder of Magic Source Online and head of education at DiversityX. I'm an activist pain in the ass when it comes to making sure there's equality of opportunity for startups that want to get invested in. And we focus entirely on underrepresented founders because they're the ones that are overlooked. In short, yes, that's me. In the past, I've helped startups raise over about 70 million so far, all early stage. And I've worked inside a startup that exited for 100 million as well, as US chief of sales. So I've taken them from sort of 30,000 subscribers to 130,000 in a year. So prior to exit. So yeah.
Do you see yourself as like a founder, or rather as an investor, or as a maybe no label at all?
I don't like labels.
Yeah.
I'm a founder and a founder enabler. I think I probably like that. A founder enabler.
Yeah. And what do you mean by these underestimated founders? Like what? Like, is there any kind of like definition around it, or like how do you spot them?
I think it's more narrowed down to the ones we want to help are those that don't have access to sort of familial wealth and networks that a small minority of people do. Those people who already have a leg up through life. So female founders, people of color, people with disabilities, LGBTQ+, neurodiverse.
Yeah.
And people who overlook just simply because they're too young or too old. And obviously neurodivergent founders are often overlooked as well. So
Yeah.
it's a big group,
Yeah.
which when you think underrepresented, but they're underrepresented in the terms that through the amount of dollars that get invested in them, they're really underrepresented, and most of the money stays within money networks rather than finding its way outside.
Yeah. Often missing the network or the credentials or just access, like the knowledge where to find answers.
Or just by gender.
Mm.
You know, it's shocking how those opportunities change based on intersectionalities and what kind of underestimated founder they are.
That's true. Yeah.
I think Diversity X sums it up well. It's overlooked and underestimated.
Yeah, no. It's actually interesting because when I was doing my PhD at the Husky in St. Gallen, my fellow did a study. Well, his PhD was about what the attractiveness of a founder actually does in terms of how much funding you get, especially if you're like a woman or a man, which I found super interesting. So they were doing a field study and they were testing like the testosterone level and the cortisol level of these mostly male investors. And I mean, it's quite common knowledge that if you're better looking, like your sentence at court is much lower than someone who's, a bit more less attractive. However, I actually have to go through that study again because I thought maybe sometimes it helps if you're not so good looking, but you rather identify with this tech nerd. So, like they might buy into the credibility that you're the guy. I don't know. Or maybe that doesn't work with women. Maybe it does. But yeah, I've seen there's quite some.
I was going to say I struggled to see where I fit in there, but as soon as you said tech nerd, I thought,
yeah,
that's the definite vibe I give off is aging tech nerd. So I'm going to go with that one. That's probably why investors are attracted to invest in is aging tech nerd. There you go. That's me. There's my label. There's the label I'll take.
Okay. So how did your journey start? Like, how did you kind of like get all into this entrepreneurship, starting your first business? Maybe you can share a bit about your story.
My background's generalist, and I like shiny things, and I've always loved product.
Yeah.
I think the first epiphany I had was when my first role in marketing. I'd just been a bank manager, and my next role was head of channel in a marketing environment. And marketing director at the time, digital marketing director, Wendy, she said, "You just love product." I'm like, 100%. And I think that's the bit, I think that became an epiphany to me because I didn't understand it. I mean, I'd been a buyer. And I should have realized at that point because I went from some really crappy jobs, sort of mostly in sales and admin and team leading, data entry clerks and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then becoming a buyer, there was just this whole new world. I could help this company by reducing its bills, and at the same time I was getting immersed in all these products that they could now sell that they weren't aware that they could sell. So I became the filter then for, well, this works for those customers you've got and all that, and you're just like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That one role in marketing where she said you just love product, so as long as you love product you can adapt to anything around you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess as a generalist, then it was from that point I went back into IT again afterwards and security, and did some vendor relations as well as sales and these other bits, and met my partner, and I was in a few roles, including that one working in a startup that went on to exit, and then went into another role which dragged me into a hell I hadn't been in for a while, which was that loop that everybody recognizes of being in meetings about meetings.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, no. Yeah. I spent 6 months because they said, come in and try and pivot this business away from its previous reputation and move it into a new era within content marketing, so on. And I tried. And I spent so little time managing my team and more time on strategic stuff that never happened.
Got it. Yeah.
I left that. It was just like, oh. So me and my partner sat down and she just went, well, don't do it then. I'm like, oh.
So simple.
She's giving me that shove and she just went, be your own boss. And that's what kickstarted that journey. I started consulting and built a little bit of basic underlying income. And we started the first accelerator in the east of England and got that mobilized. And
did you jump in there fully, or did you do like a hybrid kind of transitioning?
Initially, that was kind of hybrid. So I was still doing consulting while I was doing it, so I could continue to pay the bills while that was running. It didn't take up all of my time because we're only taking on cohorts of about 4 to 6 on 6-month acceleration, and that doesn't take up your entire time. And that again was an epiphany that served me well further down the line, is as you start to learn what they need when they need it. I look back now at some of the stuff I didn't. It was good, but I wish I knew then what I know now.
What was it?
It was right for the time, I guess. But it was small things. But the one thing I identified early on was that early stage entrepreneurs make the same early mistakes. And that hasn't changed. People drink the VC Kool-Aid. They think they have to get on a VC mindset and listen to some of the crap that's spouted by certain VCs, that you have to do this way. You have to. No, you don't. That's lesson 1. Lesson 2 is that you're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to be fallible, and don't be scared in showing you're fallible. And number 3 is don't place all of your focus on your pitch deck. It's take it back to the brevity. I know I'm talking about as somebody who owns a platform that matches people with investors, but people often miss the most fundamental steps. And one of the first proprietary things I developed was a canvas. So skipping ahead a bit, we got the pandemic, and the accelerator wasn't pandemic proof. I lost about 100 grand in partnership revenue in a week when the pandemic.
But it was based on offline, and then it couldn't.
It was all on. Well, I'd already moved to kind of virtual as well, and semi-virtual cohorts, so that wasn't so bad. It was more so that because I'd started to look further afield from east of England, because we started to get applications from otherwhere, from very good startups. So obviously our reputation was all right.
Yeah.
And we had some big tech companies that were going to put 5-figure sums in partnership revenue for that year. And I just thought, right, we can kick on to the next level.
Yeah.
You got pulled, and then all of a sudden you start the pandemic with no money. You can't consult because you have to start from scratch and redesign what you're doing. And that became the catalyst for Magic Source. And then I set about writing the 60 hours worth of material that's in there. In a few weeks, and developed a proprietary canvas. And so many startups just miss that early step. 9 boxes.
Why do you think is that? Is that out of fear, or is it out of like they just want to know?
Well, you don't know. Nobody knows when they first start off, I need to go look for a canvas. And when they do, they go look in and find a business model canvas, which is wrong. I looked at Ash Maurya's lean stack and looked at his lean canvas, which I still think is an absolutely fantastic thing that everybody should do every 6 months. It's free. It's at leanstack.com, or was free. Don't shoot me if it's no longer free. But that was great. And I looked at it, but I thought that's useless to early stage startups. So we developed our own proprietary one. It was just focused on what problem are you solving?
Yeah.
How do you solve the problem? What's your business model? What's your unique value proposition? What's your moat? But it's forcing people to put things in very small boxes from the start, and it's forcing brevity from the start, because every founder in the world, when they build their first homepage or their first deck, does this big word shit.
Now it's automated.
Even if it's automated, you can spot that because the words "no fluffer" in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, yeah. And the dashes. Yeah. I know.
They're like the summaries I produce for the weekly networking at Magic Source. I openly tell people that ChatGPT does that summary because I am not writing 1,000 words every Tuesday based on what's happened in an hour's call. No. And it does it well, so I leave it to do what it does well.
Yeah.
So that forces brevity from the start. So that's the things we start to focus on, was coaching brevity into early stage startups. Distill what you have, and then it's about distill it for the audience you're pointing it at. So that
it sounds quite simple. So people don't, founders, they don't know about it, or like they just don't see it, or they want the instant gratification and then they want the big money, and then, I don't know.
Kool-Aid again, but that is part of it, because they get this. I guess they look at, or have looked at, what historically has happened. Founders coming through now are much more aware that they're coming into a different environment, so it's not always the same. You're seeing the number of people who've drunk the Kool-Aid reduce as more savvy bootstrap founders come to the fore.
That's true.
But along with them come the crazy vibe-coded ones as well, who have basically built a widget and they think they're going to conquer the world with it, and it's not Calendly. Or no, I liken it to somebody having a baby.
Yeah.
You may have read the books and you may have thought, right, I know what I'm doing, but then it comes along and you're just gushing and effusive in your praise of this beautiful new thing that's entered the world, and you want to tell everybody everything about it, including when it goes to the toilet, what kind of poo it's doing. Look, it sneezed. So that excitement when people get those early ideas, that's where you get the big word shit. It's them being able to switch that around into, okay, I've done the big word shit, it's time to distill that into brevity.
Yeah, like, do you know this cycle? I think Alex Hormozi talks about it, that in the beginning you are the uninformed optimist, and then you turn into the informed pessimist, and often people then jump out, start a new business because apparently there's more potential, but they will end up in the same cycle at some point, because it's that, yeah, like, you have to go through the cycle. You can't skip it. Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, that was the two key things, and that's why we developed this process of going from a canvas to an elevator pitch before you tackle a pitch.
Yeah.
Because that way your mind's already coached into brevity, and you're actually just looking to provide people with the things they need to know, not what you want to tell them.
I mean, isn't there a saying that the market tells you if you're offering hits or not? I mean, no matter what you think, but it depends on if there's like a sounding board for it.
That only helps if you're listening.
Yeah, the ignorance, the ignorance of a founder is actually quite a big one. It's like a parent again, when you think like your method is the best, but you see that your child is obviously struggling.
Well, nobody wants to be told their kid is ugly. So
yeah.
So, there's lots of these little touch points for being a parent, which is that I want to tell the world about them, but you don't like being told it's ugly.
Yeah.
Or that, you really shouldn't give it vomit, colored clothes to go out in or something. So it's, you can't take that criticism, but you have to take it sometime. And you have to listen, because nothing changes if you don't listen for it to the audience.
Oh yeah, and like you have to go with the momentum and the market and like kind of adjust. And I read a study this morning where they said like, why do most startups fail? And it was about like, yes, product market fit, running out of money, and the other one was I think it was co-founder conflict or something. But I think in the end it's more about being so rigid with that idea that you don't dare to pivot, and then often like these co-founder conflicts kind of like happen because like one person wants to go left, the other one right, or they don't want to go at all, and then they want to, as you said before, like use like a certain framework that maybe worked at some point but maybe not right now. Like you need to make it work for you, but they hold so tight to the business. I mean, it's like a baby, but sometimes you have to give it away for adoption or let it die. Like that's how it is, like, you know. But
at least let others actually spend time with it.
Yeah.
And that's the bit is getting over that.
There's put the clothes on. Yeah, like
yeah. But there's three key fears. One is, and this happens time and again. I mean, I know this is anecdotal, but I've spoken to literally thousands of founders over time, early stage founders. And the amount of them, I'd say, is probably 6 in 10. I asked the question, have you actually spoken to your target audience?
No.
And number 2 is, are you telling people about it? And they fear it's going to be stolen. And it's like, well, anybody could do that at any point. Your moat has to be, you can't necessarily build a tech moat these days. It's still feasible, but not at an early stage unless you're completely moneyed up, which most founders aren't.
Yeah.
So it has to come through you have to build your own competitive advantage, whether that be via your communities, your partnerships, and all of those things. So building in public gives you that.
Yeah.
And the third fear is that they fear their own network. And again, this probably goes for 6 or 7 out of 10 of every founder that I've ever spoken to, is they won't actually to look within their own network for investment. They're happy to ask a complete stranger for £100,000 or euros or dollars.
Yeah.
But they won't ask their own network. And it's like, no. And until you could show that to somebody you know, who you respect and respects you, or at least knows you, don't go showing it to strangers. So that's what you need to do. It needs to pass the NAN test.
Oh yeah.
So, if it's something you can explain to your own network, to your friends, to your family, and they can get it, then that's the key bit, I think, is those 3 early fears. And they would solve so many problems, because you get, that cycle you're on about earlier. You get to go through those cycles a lot quicker, because you're actually talking to people who would use it and pay for it. You get to identify who would use it and pay for it. And funnily enough, that gets you to your ideal customer profile faster. By building in public, you get other people telling others about this product, and you get to learn off them to know whether it's a good thing or not. And out of that, you've built fans who then may invest, or at least support what you're doing and amplify what you're doing. Cost anything, that bit is free. And that saves people doing that ridiculous thing on their marketing slide of going, I'm going to use socials and search, and no, you fucking not. You haven't got any money. You're the founder, you're the domain expert. Go and sell it to people you know and use the networks you know. You're not going to use those things at all. Not until you're at seed level, or until you've got some money. No.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I think that's another trap a lot of founders fall into. Like they build something even like without validating if that's actually wanted, and they put a lot of resources and time into it, and then they go into the stealth mode, and all of a sudden they've got this amazing product, but it's not even validated.
unless you're creating some new genome or something, there's no reason for you to be in stealth mode. None.
I know. Yeah.
But
But
I mean,
interestingly, yeah.
go on.
Did you also go through these experiences, or did you make these mistakes yourself?
Oh, I've made them all.
Yeah.
Mistake you can think of where I now tell founders not to do something is because I've done it. And that's within the materials on the platform as well. As I'm not telling you this because as some sort of received wisdom. I've done it. I've been that asshole who's done the mass mailings that didn't personalize them. And
did it work?
Flippers like. And I mean, some of the marketing campaigns I've tried and done, but I think that is a little part of the journey, and I think being able to share bits of those journeys with people, and that's where I do in the networking calls as well. Is I did this and I sucked because I did it this way, and in hindsight, I'd rather have saved up and used an expert to do that at this stage. No, exactly. But I mean, wiser, more experienced, more senior people than me have done this at companies, and one of them I work for did really well in the UK, went to go to the US, treated the US like one country, not 50. They didn't take into account the audience in each of those states, what they wanted. They also lied to the people about what they get. And when I came in and helped with that, it's like, right, can we stop the bullshit for one? Let's stop chasing customers who want to leave us. That's called hostage taking. Yes. Let's be nice to them at the start and figure out whether they're a good fit. Queue, so you can educate them on the way in. And that's when you get stickier customers, and that's when you really start to see that multiplication when you've got a budget. But when you haven't got a budget, everybody within that team has to sell, and everybody has to build their network, and everyone has to listen and learn to the people they want to sell to.
Yeah. But would you recommend for founders in general to like start with like a hybrid model instead of like jumping all in? Like often I hear that you should put all your energy and forces into it because the only thing you have is time and energy, but you have no money. But I also heard, and like this is my personal opinion, like you're basically in survival states. I'm not sure if you actually take the right decisions when you are worrying about paying month's rent and
AI is brilliant for that. It's a godsend. Talk to it, tell it everything about your business. Preferably behind one of the paid versions, because the paid versions don't cost a lot and the subscription cost is worth it because it's not used to train a model. And then it becomes a critical friend. As long as you're telling it to be a critical friend, you're right. This is my marketing approach. This is what I'm doing. What am I missing? This is what my networks look like. These are my connections. This is how many I have. This is the profile of them. Blah 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 blah. And then you're not just looking beyond that. And I mean, I've built my own ops dashboard within GPT to help with that. So check in with me and go, how is this working? And you thought this was a great idea. How's that going? And I even bounce it back at it as well and say, well, you thought this was a great idea and that one fucked up as well. So on a day-to-day basis, that's become my critical friend, as well as obviously having co-founder between us. We both use AI to bounce ideas and stuff around and spitball stuff with, and I think you need to, because then, and having that peer exposure. You love stuff like founder networking and that kind of thing. So hopping on for an hour with one of your communities, obviously we do it with our own. And if somebody comes on and goes, well, I'm thinking of doing this, pretty quickly they get feedback.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, yeah.
I mean, last week people came on with, well, I'm just about to launch this new brand, or I'm just about to launch this new product. What do you think of this color scheme? What do you think of this logo? It's invaluable. You're just getting this feel for stuff then as well, and you're getting a consensus.
Yeah.
And we encourage people then not just to do that in the networking call, but take it the rest a network and throw it out them and go, right, A, B, or C, and I'm doing this, and give us some reasons. I'm about to try this.
No.
Has anybody tried this before?
It's as simple as it is. I know. Yeah. Did you make any experiences in like working with the right or the wrong people? Like, in terms of like, I don't know, often I think we start a business being kind of like, so in love with the child, with the idea, but not really like double checking like what kind of relationship you're starting with your co-founder or even with some investors later. Maybe there's not even the right fit here either because they have a different vision, etc. But yeah, like, and that's another question I wanted to ask you. Like, do you believe that having a vision and like goals which are in alignment, is that really important to have, or is it, and how did you experience that, or is it more like a thing they keep on talking about is like theory, but in practice it doesn't really matter that much?
10 years in, I can tell you it does. I mean, you get investors come into businesses at different stages, and marry in haste, repent at leisure. So that value alignment and those expectations and where you get stuff right and wrong has to be, absolutely at the fore. I mean, there's a bunch of people on my cap table now. 90% of those have been really close to business from quite an early stage. Some of them are from within the building that I'm in, which has got co-working spaces and offices, and they've just followed the journey. I've been out for a cigarette, and all the way along, they've just kind of learned a little bit about the business. And then when I've opened around, they've kind of gone,
That's cool. Yeah. Authentically. Yeah.
And they're getting it every day. And almost everybody that's on my cap table has heard the good, the bad, the ugly from me. And I think what you learn is that, and this is what I preach for some time anyway, is that you need to build a relationship with investors before you ask them for money, because I didn't like the transactional days of investment and the more readily available capital that was around a few years back. I think founders start to look at investors like cash machines, and VCs in particular started to look at founders just as deal flow as statistics to meet stuff and tick boxes. So the pace everything moved at took the relationships out of it, and I think we lost some angels. I think we lost probably a lot of angels at that point as well, because of how the VC founder relationships were viewed. Angels started to feel there was no place for them because there were lots of funds available at pre-seed. Those relationships couldn't be built, and I think there was a bit of a brain drain as well for those startups at that point. But now founders have returned, and they're meeting a good kind of founder who's focused on commercializing and profitability at an early stage. So I think that's a win-win for both sides, because a lot of those are now founder operator investors as well. That asset class is growing. And the people who've been there and done it, and that's invaluable. They know when to get involved and when to butt out. My cap table's all like that, and I think it's always nice to check in with investors as well and just say, look, what help do you need? It's a human relationship. You're stuck together for 5 to 7 years, so you've got to get on. So get on with them. If you don't get on with them and you're just there for the money, it doesn't work for either side. That's just sad. That's like having one of those marriages of convenience. There's no love there, and you want love in that relationship from an early stage, because that you amplify what each other does as well. Because if they ever need to give a reference to a founder, what's this person like on my cap table?
Yeah, it's also the network, the expertise, their resilience that can help quite a lot, I guess.
It helps them being able to coach that founder into what would stop somebody butting in is those good monthly updates, regular cadence, because that's all people generally want is just know, look, what's happening, tell us the good, bad, and ugly, and if we can help, we'll help, and if we can't, we'll find somebody who can. But you have to be honest and say whether you're waving or drowning.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely taught me this time around. So as much as there's a lot of people on my cap table, I'm glad every single one of them is there. I've seen it with, and yeah, I mean, one of the examples was from my earliest days with the accelerator when I started, and it was one of the first companies we accelerated. And there's a team of 3 of them. You saw 2 of them pitching on a regular basis, and like a dynamic duo, great at pitching, good product, some early headway, 2 good engineers. One of them went in a hackathon, split off some of the IP from the company he was working for.
Yeah.
And I said, you did check with the guys, because I was mentoring that hackathon. And I went, you did check with the guys, didn't you, on the IP and all the rest of it? Yeah. It's complete, this isn't competing because it's only one small section of the product. And they span it out and they left that company in the lurch. And because they were leaving and there was confusion over the IP, they literally, the week that hackathon happened, they had a check in the bank for 300K. They had to give the 300K back. That thing was torpedoed. There was acrimony. Took 6 months to sort out, by which point all was lost. All the momentum had gone because they took all the IP and the code with them for what they developed. So at the outset, an MOU at the very least that says, this is what we'll do together. These are things we won't do. And it's about protecting the business. Usually there's at least one person who's got more. There should always be one person who's got more equity than the others, because they are the ultimate decision maker.
Yeah.
And it's their job to make sure that that agreement protects the business. It's ruined too many startups there.
Yeah. And also, like, what I've been seeing is, like, often they break down because of communication, issues, or like they have different kind of expectations. Like, are there any lessons learned you have in terms of how to maintain a good relationship? Because in the end, it's like a relationship, but it's about also like being authentic, being open to reflect, and like, listen, which is and like hearing the other person, or send lessons.
Initially, that's never a problem.
Okay.
In the first 6 to 12 months, everybody is so enthusiastic. It's like one of those new relationships.
Yeah.
They're completely in lust. Yeah. It's not love.
Yeah. The love bombing phase. Yeah.
They will absolutely listen to everything, and they've got so much in common, and they love each other, and they can't go far enough for each other. But inevitably, you've got to get to that point where lust fades, love endures. Yeah. So before that happens, you need your prenup. That's why it's called a founder prenup, is to be able to protect the business, and you have to have that conversation. We don't think anything's going to go wrong, but just in case it does, let's get all of our aspirations and concerns out early. Because if you don't do that, you're screwed.
Happens right to me. I've got a prenup now. It's a business.
That's the thing, isn't it? You got to protect. And again, it's that maternal paternal instinct. We've talked about this thing being a baby. I guess this has become the theme for this one, hasn't it? But it is the baby.
Yeah.
Of all else, in any relationship, it's the child that matters first. The child comes first.
Yeah.
So it's that same principle.
Yeah. And often, we have like a strong ego that's getting triggered. So did you go through some ego death along your path?
A what death?
Like an ego death,
Ego death.
Yeah. Basically,
No.
like shifting from a certain kind of identity you had towards, I don't know, like you hit a certain wall and then all of a sudden you have a different perspective because you had to change how you see things, for example.
The Accelerator was a good example of that. And I had somebody wanted to be a co-founder in that early business. And thankfully, current co-founder, who's also my partner.
Yeah.
Brilliant at sniffing people out. She is the best sniff test of any human being ever. And we had somebody want to be a co-founder, and she got
No.
With the Accelerator and marched along and took money and did nothing.
Yeah.
She turned out to be right. She has never ever been wrong with her sniff tests. So lucky to have her because but you do live and learn from that.
Yeah.
And you look for those signs. You look for the people who want this and want that from the outset, and you're like, no, I'm not going to deliver. And thankfully, after spending so long in the ecosystem, you do learn more and more about, who the good people are. And I'd take honesty over talent any day.
No, you can spot that. Like, yeah, that's true.
And that's why the tech team we got and the tech people who built our platform have been brilliant, because I'm not saying they weren't talented, they were really talented. The one thing they always were throughout is, I'm not going to be able to do this, I'm not going to be able to do that, but I can do this, and this is when I will be able to do it. And you're like, thank you, I can take that.
Yeah.
You can then go and tell your customers that, this is broke, this isn't fixed, or they'll try and fix it, and they'll go, I'll talk to the customer. Brilliant.
No.
And that's what we need is that I'll take honesty over talent every day.
And especially clarity. I mean, like, you face so much uncertainty anyways. You don't need like another black box where you don't know if that's just like a fake it until you make it thing, or if you're actually in the same boat, like as one family, like driving the boat together into the unknown.
You got to know your shipmates, haven't you?
Yeah. And what would you say about what's your definition of a startup success? Like, what would you say is like a successful, for you, successful business? Like, or how would you define it?
You're going to hate this answer.
Why?
But it comes from within the founder, because it's what does success look like for them.
Okay. Yeah.
So it shouldn't be prescriptive, part of that Kool-Aid mentality again, where I'm going to exit for $1 billion, because in 90% of cases that means you're probably only leaving with the same amount of money that somebody would if they exited for 20 to 40 million.
Yeah.
By that stage, you own next to nothing of it anyway. You've had to work twice as hard, and you'll probably be tied to the company for another 2 years just to get that. So success. I think this probably was lost for a while as well, but I think it is a personal thing. It's like what would, and I ask this quite often, the fact is, what success look like for you?
Yeah. So often they don't know, or they haven't thought about it.
Most don't know.
Yeah.
But even if they can sketch out a rough idea of how long do you want to be doing this for, and they can't answer that, nobody can. And the reason they can't is nobody knows what founder life is like unless they've been there before.
No.
It's hard. Honestly, when it comes time to exit Magic Source, I'm taking a break. You see some people that hop straight back on the horse, and it is addictive. I'd still stay involved with startups and help others, but would I be a founder again straight away?
No. Yeah.
No way. I'd need to recharge the batteries, and
Mm.
because it is hard. You do get a lot of ups and downs, and
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, it's a case of that lesson being try and think of what your goals are and the things you'd like to maintain while being a founder as well, because the first things that can easily get lost are things like relationships, friendships, and all those things. And if they're important to you, don't lose them.
No.
They'll be there long after the startup.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but often like this, like starting a business comes with a big price tag, hey? And like a lot of people are not aware about what it actually means. I mean, some people, as you said, like they appreciate or they really value their certain friendships, but you have to put in time. And if you now have your new baby, like, I mean, maybe they will not accept that you might, change, and like you will be different, and no one likes people to change because, there's like a potential threat. So like you're shifting, or maybe you have to kind of like cut down on your lifestyle because your money goes into the business and you cannot, chill on the weekend anymore as you used to with friends, or like even like after work. There's no after work. There's like one mode. Like yeah.
There is for a while, yes, but
Yeah.
I think the key thing to remember there is you have to know when to switch off.
Yeah.
Because if that WhatsApp or email goes unanswered,
Yeah.
nobody's going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it can wait until tomorrow. I used to be the one that some of my best work still comes to me at like between 11 and 1 in the morning. And I used to be that ass had to probably made somebody's phone ping at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I have now reached a stage where it's like, and I get reminded, and this is where it's brilliant having your partner as a co-founder as well. It's just like, and she's more pragmatic. She'll go, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's put that away. Turn your notifications off. We're doing this. Review will open at your phone and reading those messages.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I had a similar like talk about that because like I told you I'm going on a cruise with my family, and like what founder does that? I'm like, I don't care what founder does that. Like I value my family. I've got a couple of days I can work with, and I bet you I will be way more productive because I will be like so balanced, like, and yeah, but it's kind of interesting because like I've talked to a lot of founders, and like they hardly believe like you have to be in this hustling and grinding mode. But the thing is, like, how can you drive a car? Like you have to fuel it at some point. Like it's not going to drive forever. So, and that comes with like, taking time off for yourself, that you like something that gives you joy. Like you need the joy, the energy to bring it in, or like to value sleep. Often that's like what founders cut the first, like, oh, I just like, I work more, so I just sleep 5-6 hours less. I don't know. But we need that. It's regeneration. Like I always compare it to, like athletes, Olympians. Like they have like a coach for everything, for regeneration, for their mental, for the emotional state, for the nutrition, for their sleep. Otherwise, you will not get the gold medal. Like you cannot become a unicorn. But it hasn't really quite arrived yet, because I think it's mostly fear-driven, or like comparison, or I don't know what's the driving force here, but. Yeah, I experienced quite some resistance towards others, and I got triggered like, oh, maybe, like I should work more. And then I'm like, no, like, I've even written it down. Like, I think I've got a little thing here. Wait, where was it? Put it here. Yeah, taking care of yourself is productive. I mean, it's simple, but it's so true.
I get the reminders, having those honest people around you as well. And
yeah,
my partner's brilliant for that. She's brilliantly, brutally honest, and like me, which is probably what we're marriage made in heaven or hell, one way or the other. But yeah, she's absolutely brilliant. That she spots the signs and just says, "I stop," or stop and go out. And she's the one that got me in that habit of actually going out and I'm making sure I have half hour in a green space every day, or every time I can, is whenever you can get out into a green space and go and chill, eat your sandwich there.
Do you have like another founder you're finding inspirational, that this person kind of like, or like someone who started a business but more from a creative kind of energy instead of like a destructive fear-based one, or like who did something in a different way and you find inspirational?
No. But there's a lot of founders. I think founders that I'm surrounded by every day, and I take a little bit of something from every single one of those, and there's loads of people in my network that have exited, some multiple times. There's little bits of traits and behaviors that I admire in so many of them, and things they've said or done. It's probably be a book all on its own, but is there any one? No. I've come to almost despise the likes of Zuckerberg and Musk and all of those. I think they're the worst possible role models that anybody could get going into tech. Yeah. So I think the people I'm surrounded by and those people that I've seen exit, overwhelmingly, they are actually people who've been underestimated and overlooked.
Yeah.
They've gone and succeeded despite. And I think there's more to admire from somebody who's done that and exited for 20 million, 40 million, 60 million than somebody who's inviting somebody else to a cage fight so they can wave their dick around. So they're the people I admire most.
Yeah. Okay, maybe one last question. What would you say should be more talked about, like amongst other founders or in general? Like, is there certain things there should be more? Well, should be more talked about or put more light into?
I think it ties into that last point. I think it's don't let yourself burn out and put your hand up in front of people in the community when you feel like you're burning out. And if you need a chat, because the people who do that do get support. I mean, I've taken those calls loads of times where somebody said, I'm feeling a bit confused, I'm feeling a bit shit, I feel like I've hit a dead end. And I've been in those calls and people have wept. And it's like, right, the simple bit, start with small steps, go do this, go do that. But that usually involves walking away from what you're doing, let your brain have space, let your subconscious do what it's absolutely brilliant at. Because I think I mentioned this in the Brilliant Venturing Women group a couple of weeks back, and they said, like, you looked at any studies on what the subconscious does? No, but from my own personal experience, it's if you stuff your conscious with so much and everything is constantly using the conscious part of your brain, your subconscious never gets a chance to do what it's brilliant at, because the noise is so loud at the front that nothing gets heard from the back. So you need to be able to walk away. You need to be able to breathe, and not enough founders do that. Not enough of them put their hand up to say, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. Can you help? Me included, and I've done that in my journey loads, because you think you can do it all yourself and you can't.
No, you can't. No, because you can't see your blind spots. Yeah. Yeah. No, perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And even my table, I've even been brilliant with that. They put their hand up and they go, are you all right? Are you sure you're not struggling? Because I've seen this, I've seen that. And it's like, well, if they can see it, it's obviously happening. So I'll have a chat with them and see what they can see. And don't be afraid of your cap table. They joined your cap table for a reason, particularly angels. They're not there to give you a kick in. They're there to make sure that you can be the best you can be, and as a human as well as founder.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Kris. Is there anything the community or the listeners can do for you or for Magic Sauce online? Anything to support you with?
Come join the actual conversation. Obviously, we're always happy to have more people in the community itself, and come and join the networking calls for founders, investors. The door is open. If you're an underestimated founder or investor, then just come be part of it.
Yeah.
We have AI chat on a Friday. That's brand new, so we're trialing that out because everybody wanted it. We only had about 4 people turn up on it.
Yeah.
If they want it, they better damn well turn up this Friday, or there'll be no more AI chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got investor only chat on Thursday, and I think one of the things I like about the community is we get investors turn up on a Tuesday as well, and they don't feel they're going to be pitched up by founders. So they're not, and they're there to share knowledge and experience, and it's appreciated. And I've never seen that happen elsewhere, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, maybe they want to understand the founders even better, so that's why they also kind of like.
It becomes a two-way street, doesn't it? And that's why the community itself is both investors and founders. So those investors that are brave enough, come play in the founder area, and quite a lot of people are now founder investor operators anyway. So those lines are becoming more blurred. It's good.
I'm looking forward to the call in just about 1 hour today.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much, Kris. It was
Thanks
very
for having
to you. Yes. Amazing. Okay. Thanks for listening. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.